What if I told you one of the most iconic sci-fi portals in history was invented in a garage using iced tea powder and a power drill? And the director kept firing the guy who made it. This is the chaotic, unbelievable story of how Stargate almost failed and how pure desperation turned it into a franchise. In the early 1990s, science fiction was considered dead. Every major studio passed on Stargate. No backing, no safety net. $55 million raised independently. If this movie failed, careers would burn with it. And honestly, at several points, it should have failed. 1. The $7 million, yes, that saved everything. Let's start with a strange misunderstanding. For months, Kurt Russell kept turning the movie down. Why? He was reading the wrong script. An early draft, unfinished, rough, not meant to leave the writer's desk, somehow landed in his hands. So every time the offer came in, he rejected it. The producers were desperate. They needed a bankable name. Foreign investors didn't care about concept art or passion. They cared about stars. Finally, Russell saw the correct shooting draft. He paused. This isn't so bad. That small sentence unlocked everything. He agreed for $7 million out of a $55 million total budget. Think about that. Over 12% of the entire film's money went to one actor. That's not casting. That's insurance. And when the film opened number one on October 28, 1994, earning $16.6 million opening weekend, the gamble suddenly looked brilliant. 2. The actor who thought the script was awful. Now here's the twist. While Russell made peace with the business side, James Spader had the opposite reaction. He publicly said the script was terrible. And here's what makes that fascinating. He accepted the role anyway. Why? Because sometimes actors don't choose scripts. They choose survival. Spader had just come off respected dramas. He needed income, but he also had high standards. So he pushed back on dialogue constantly. One day it exploded. He refused to leave his trailer until pages were rewritten. Production stopped. Hundreds of crew members waited. Money evaporated by the minute. Finally, Russell marched to his trailer. Spader, the dialogue is horrible. Russell, of course it's horrible. That's why they pay you. That line perfectly captures Hollywood reality. If everything was brilliant, no one would need fixing. 3. The Stargate that looked like a tire. Now imagine this. You're making a movie called Stargate. The entire concept revolves around a giant alien ring. And when you build it, it looks like a Goodyear tire. That's exactly what happened. The first version was painted flat black. Under studio lights, it looked cheap, heavy, dead. The crew panicked. So overnight, they repainted the entire 22-foot ring metallic silver. No reshoots, no committee meetings, just instinct. The next day, under lighting, everything changed. The silver caught firelight, moonlight, shadows. Suddenly, it felt ancient and advanced at the same time. That rushed decision became the visual identity of the franchise. Sometimes success isn't about new technology. It's about choosing the right color. 4. The garage experiment that changed sci-fi forever. Here's where the story gets crazy. Director Roland Emmerich hated every version of the portal effect. He kept firing visual effects supervisor Jeffrey A. Oken more than once. But Oken didn't quit. He went to a garage, grabbed a plexiglass tank, filled it with water, added iced tea powder, then stuck a wooden beam into a drill and stirred. When the liquid swirled and settled, they saw it. That strange spiral pattern. The iconic watery strudel behind the gate. But they needed the explosive burst too, the blast when the gate activates. So they fired compressed air into the tank. First test, 26 pounds of pressure. Water exploded everywhere. Drenched the crew. They lowered it to just over 2 pounds. Perfect. That water burst became one of the most copied sci-fi effects ever. No CGI magic. Just physics, trial, error, and stubbornness. 5. Rendering the impossible in 1994. Today, you render shots in hours. In 1994, the wormhole sequence took 30 days to render. 30. Computers were slow. Memory was limited. No modern pipelines. They layered high-speed water footage shot at 120 frames per second. Composited frame by frame. Used optical printers. It was a hybrid of practical and digital, right at the edge of what was possible. And that slight off feeling in the morphing helmets, that alien mechanical weirdness, it came from software they had to write themselves after commercial programs failed. Sometimes imperfection creates personality. 6. The villain who didn't want to be there. Then there's Jay Davidson. He never planned to act. He was discovered at a party, nominated for an Oscar for The Crying Game, then suddenly offered Stargate. He didn't want it, so he asked for $1 million, assuming they'd walk away. They didn't. Now he had to do it. Test audiences hated the character, so the filmmakers made a bold decision. They turned RA into an alien parasite inhabiting a human host, added glowing eyes, altered the voice, layered sound effects, and echo. And just like that, the mythology of the Goa'uld was born. A last-minute rewrite created an entire franchise foundation. 7. Filming in 120 degrees desert hell. The desert scenes were shot in extreme heat. Temperatures exceeded 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Water bottles melted. Film warped. Actors collapsed. Extras ran through dunes in heavy robes. To save money, the crew placed stick figures wrapped in cloth far in the background to fake crowds. You probably never noticed. That's filmmaking. Illusion powered by sweat. 8. The helmets no one could see through. The Horus Guard helmets? No eye holes. None. Actors performed fight scenes blind. Crew members whispered directions between takes. LED lights inside were powered by taped 9-volt batteries. Simple, cheap, effective. It's wild how often high-tech cinema is powered by hardware store solutions. The bigger lesson. So what really made Stargate work? Not smooth production, not harmony, not perfect scripts. It survived because someone repainted a ring overnight. Someone refused to quit after being fired. Someone experimented in a garage. Someone rewrote mythology instead of reshooting. This movie was held together by risk, by improvisation, by people who kept solving problems instead of walking away. And maybe that's the real portal, the doorway between failure and legacy. Next time you watch that shimmering silver ring activate, remember, it almost looked like a tire. It almost had no star. It almost had no alien villain. It almost had no iconic effect. Sometimes the projects that feel like disasters are just one experiment away from history, and that might apply to you more than you think. If this story changed how you see filmmaking, hit like, subscribe, and tell me. What other movie almost collapsed before becoming legendary? Because the chaos behind the scenes is often more powerful than what we see on screen.